Good morning, gang. Happy Saturday. Hopefully we can get something done. Today, Friday evening for me, so you guys can see this in the morning. It's been dry all week, so it's nice. So I finally got to till that big garden I've been working on. Been waiting to do that forever. We finally had 4 or 5 days of dry weather, so I got that done. Of course, now it's supposed to rain for the next 7 days, so that was the reason for getting that done. But it's not what I'm talking about here today. So that was kind of what I was doing to prep today, if you will, working more on my gardens here in February. But what I wanted to talk about is what's coming up next month, okay? You're all aware of the pandemic and everything like that we've gone through, and the mortgage and the renter moratorium that we had. But I want to kind of put this in scale to you guys so you understand what's about to happen, because this is concerning, all right? Now, in 2019, the most recent time I can get numbers for, there were approximately 43 million people living in rental units in the United States, okay? Now, as of January, about 23% of the renters, or around 10 million people, were behind in their rent payments as of the beginning of this year. Okay, and that's the conservative estimate. I've also seen estimates which could be as high as 20%, 20 million people, which is nearly half of all the renters. Okay. Now, the average delinquent renter owed about $5,600 as of January 1st, being nearly 4 months behind on their monthly payment. Divide that out, and that means average monthly rent is about $1,400. Now you add 2 more months to it, and that means the average renter now, coming up on the 1st of March, is behind $8,400, okay? At the low end, 10 million people, that means there's $84 billion in rent that has not been paid. If you take the top number, the 20 million, that means $168 billion is in arrears, okay? Even on the low end of the 10 million people, that's more people than the approximately 7 million homeowners who lost properties to foreclosure during the subprime mortgage crisis and the Great Recession back in 2009. And we all remember what a disaster that was, okay? Now you're adding something between 3 million more and 13 million more people suddenly homeless. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. Up to 20 million people, that's about 6% of the population of the United States, is behind on their rent. The rent moratorium expires at the end of March, 1 month from now, unless it's extended by the CDC. And right now, there's no word that they're going to do it. That means up to 20 million men, women, and children will be homeless in 30 days. Think it's not going to happen? Okay. Well, on Thursday, a federal judge ruled that an eviction ban is unconstitutional. Therefore, that means these people can get evicted, okay? That means all the people that are on the CDC rent moratorium can be thrown out in the streets unless they pay all the back rent. How many of these people do you think actually have $8,400 to pay their back rent? If they had the money, they would have paid it all along, okay? Now, I see both sides of this one. Thank God I'm not a judge, okay? Renters, at least most of them who are behind, have been out of work due to lockdowns and are unable to make their rent. Okay, I get it. The problem here, though, is there's a ton of people who gamed the system. They're still working and haven't paid the rent. And I know there are plenty of advocates that just come out and say, well, forgive everybody's rent, but that causes another huge problem, okay? On the other side, you have the property owners and the landlords, okay? Now, major companies that own apartment complexes like MAA or Starwood Capital, they can absorb some of these losses. But mom and pop who own a property or two and rent it out for their income are suffering badly. Now, sure, I know they can be on a mortgage forbearance, and that's true, okay? But that doesn't mean they can stop paying the insurance, the maintenance, and the taxes on the property. On top of that, a lot of these people use the rentals that they get as their income so they can eat and pay their bills too, okay? So then we get back to the forgive the rent crowd, okay? Well, if I own a rental property, guess what I'm doing? I'm selling that property to someone who wants to live there permanently, okay? I'm getting out altogether. I'm not going through this any longer. Now it's no longer a rental property, and those people are automatically evicted. They don't have to sign a new lease. We're not offering one, okay? So this is the big conundrum. Now, and I got sympathy for both sides. It sucks no matter how you slice it, for everybody involved. What really gets me is this. The landlord's not allowed to charge for the services he's providing, a roof over somebody's head. Now, what if that was done at grocery stores, whereby the store couldn't charge you for the food you needed? After all, that's a basic need too, okay? What if this applied to the hardware store, the gas station, Walmart? See where I'm going with this? The solution being bandied about is, you guessed it, socialism. Here's where the problem comes in for us preppers, okay? And this is what I really need you to think about. In 5 weeks, there could be 20 million people literally let loose on the street. There aren't enough shelters, churches, park benches, subway stations, tents, and sleeping bags to handle this. These people are going to be on the streets looking for somewhere to go, somewhere to sleep. They may have cars that they can stay in. But imagine a family of 4 living in their car. I mean, imagine one person living in your car. It sucks, okay? What kind of life is that? You're gonna see tent cities and homeless camps, i.e. Hoovervilles and shanty towns, spring up everywhere. Look at the Great Depression and how people lived back then. Literally, that's what you're gonna see. Now, what's this gonna lead to? High crime for sure. Theft, murder, rape, you name it. If you live in a city, you've seen the homeless around asking for money, okay? As of 2019, there were 567,715 homeless people in the United States, per at least what count they got. 500,000, roughly. Now imagine that number increases 40-fold, okay? Some people are going to stay in the cities. After all, that's what they know. Some will head out in search of a life somewhere else. Maybe they head west. Maybe they head south. After all, it's still going to be cold outside. Human nature is going to tell them to head somewhere warmer, and that sure as hell ain't Montana and Vermont, okay? So now imagine your little town with its 5,000 people or whatever, your farm, your land, your homestead, your bug-out location is now going to be prime real estate for people to go to. Think about it. People in the cities all think that the country, the rural areas, is full of food, farms with fruits and vegetables, ranches with animals, there are deer everywhere. That's what they think, okay? You are now their grocery store. Your barn may be a place someone goes to get out of the weather to get a night's sleep. Your cabin at your bug-out location has just become someone's house. None of this is going to be done with your permission either. You're just going to wake up in the morning, go out to the barn, see a chicken missing, some vegetables pulled from the ground, and quite possibly walk up on some family sleeping there with a pile of chicken bones and some carrot tops next to them. What are you going to do? Okay. Now, it's in our nature to be helpful. I mean, as preppers, it's kind of what we are. Okay. Y'all proved that the other day with all the support you gave to Mad Shad. But imagine this on a grandiose scale. 20 million people. There is no way in the world you, me, anybody, all of us can help 20 or 30 people apiece. We don't prep like that, okay? We're trying to take care of our own family, not our own neighborhood. We aren't prepared for that, yet that's what's coming in a month. Yours and mine, okay, our quaint little towns could possibly soon be overrun by people looking to escape the high cost of living in the cities. I mean, I know this runs completely counterintuitive to the World Economic Forum's plans to move us all into the cities, but I'll get there in a second. You look at Idaho, for example, okay? Idaho has seen an invasion of people from California. These people are selling their tiny, expensive house in California, and they move to Idaho, where they can now afford a much bigger house and land. What this has managed to do is price the native Idahoans out of the housing market. That ain't good, okay? Something similar is going to happen everywhere there's a low cost of living, i.e. the rural areas. Not that people who are moving out of these rentals or whatever have, lots of money to go buy a house, but they are going to come and need housing of some sort, jobs, food, and it's going to cause a rise in the cost of everything, okay? I mean, obviously more people means more infrastructure, means more stores, means all of a sudden your little city's now a big one, okay? So think about how this is going to affect you. What do you do if there's suddenly a massive influx of people into your area? I mean, cities are born, they have a life cycle, and they die. Okay. Look at Detroit. Okay. It was once a booming city, auto industry, Motown, 1.8 million people. Now you can go out and buy city blocks for a few $1,000s. Population 70,000 people. They've lost 62% of the population. On the other side, let's look at Fort Myers, Florida. Okay. In 1970, it had a population of 27,000 people. Today, 80,000. So imagine you started a homestead in Fort Myers 50 years ago. Okay. It was a quaint area, not small, but not big. Now you have a homestead in amongst a small city. Imagine if you get an influx of people from Tampa or Miami. Excuse me. Imagine you get an influx of people from Tampa or Miami, and now your homestead is in a town of 200,000 people. Sorry, your self-sufficient lifestyle has gone by the wayside. Walmart's now next door. Now the WEF and their minions decide you are the place they're going to corral people, and the apartments go up, more people move to the area, and your little town is now as big as Tampa was, and you're in the middle of it. Okay. See, this is the conundrum. These people, all 10 to 20 million of them, are going to have to go somewhere on April 1st. Is that going to be your backyard? These are the marauders we talk about in an SHTF situation. Packs of people, hungry, looking for a place to stay, who have nothing to lose. After all, 10 to 20 million people, homeless, is an SHTF event. It's just one we never thought about. Until now. Pinball out.